You know that feeling, right? Someone steps just a little too close when you're talking, and suddenly every alarm bell in your head is going off, just screaming, back up, back up. It's so awkward, it's uncomfortable, but have you ever stopped to wonder why that is? Well, it's not just you. It's actually a fundamental part of our hidden social language. So, today, let's decode that language. We're going to dive into the powerful, invisible forces of space and touch that are constantly shaping every single interaction we have, whether we realize it or not. Here's what we've got on tap. We'll start by uncovering the invisible rules of our personal space. Then, we'll map out the 4 zones we all live in and see what happens when those worlds collide. After that, we'll get into the incredible power of touch and find out how we can literally speak through our hands. Let's do this. Okay, so that feeling you get with a close talker, that's not random at all. It's your brain reacting because an invisible but very real rule has just been broken. And believe it or not, there's an entire field of science dedicated to understanding this. It's called Proxemics. It's basically the formal study of our personal space. You know, that invisible bubble we all carry around. It's all about how we use the space between each other to communicate things without ever saying a word. And the stakes here are actually pretty high. A guy named Edward T. Hall, an anthropologist who pioneered this whole field, he found that when someone bursts that bubble, it's not just a little awkward. It can trigger real, genuine feelings of anxiety or even anger, because it feels like a total invasion of our personal territory. But Hall didn't just point out that we have this bubble. He actually mapped it out. He discovered that we all unconsciously slice up the space around us into 4 very distinct zones. And seriously, understanding these is like getting your hands on the secret handbook for social interaction. So let me throw a number at you. 18 inches. Think about that for a second. What does that distance mean to you? Who are the people you let get that close? This one measurement is the absolute key to understanding our most personal, most important boundary. So that 18 inches, well, that marks the outer edge of our intimate zone. This space is reserved for only our most trusted relationships. Step back a bit to about 1.5 to 4 feet, and you're in the personal zone. This is for good friends and family. Then there's the social zone from 4 to 12 feet, which is where most of our work life happens. And anything beyond that 12-foot mark is the public zone. The craziest part? We navigate these zones perfectly, instinctively, every single day, without even thinking twice about it. But, and this is a huge but, here's the catch. These zones are not one size fits all. They were largely defined based on North American culture. And your personal bubble can be wildly different depending on where you grew up. For example, in what we call high-contact cultures, like in Latin America or the Middle East, those personal and social zones are way smaller. Standing closer is just normal, comfortable. But for someone from a low-contact culture, that same distance can feel aggressive or intrusive. And it works both ways. Your idea of a comfortable distance might come across as cold or distant to someone else. You can immediately see how this could cause some major cross-cultural miscommunications, right? All right, so we've covered the space between us, but what happens when we actually close that gap and make contact? This brings us into the fascinating world of haptics, the study of how we communicate through touch. Haptics is all about touch. I mean, from the moment we are born, touch is absolutely fundamental to how we develop and connect. It's how we show complex emotions, build deep trust, and create powerful social bonds in a way that words just can't. Just think about it for a second. Before we had language, before we even had complex gestures, there was touch. It's our most primal, most instinctual way of connecting with each other. But of course, not all touch means the same thing. The way a doctor touches your arm is completely different from how a close friend would. A researcher named Richard Heslin gave us a brilliant way to understand this by breaking down touch into 5 clear social functions. So it all starts with functional or professional touch. Think a doctor's exam or a tailor taking measurements. Then you've got social or polite touch, like your everyday handshake. Moving up the scale is friendship and warmth, like a pat on the back. And from there, it gets way more personal with love and intimacy, like holding hands. And finally, sexual or arousal. You can see how the context and the relationship define everything. Now, when it comes to the workplace, this stuff gets incredibly tricky. A light, brief touch on the arm can sometimes be a great way to build rapport, but boy, can it be misinterpreted easily. The number one rule here is to use touch with extreme caution. You have to be guided by respect, by cultural norms, and most of all, by paying super close attention to how the other person is reacting. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, The real power kicks in when you stop just trying to analyze other people's signals. The game changer is when you start consciously and purposefully encoding your own, when you use this knowledge of space and touch to communicate exactly what you intend. And that brings me to the final thought I really want to leave you with today. Whether you know it or not, you are constantly broadcasting nonverbal signals about who you are and what you're thinking. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, what are your signals saying about you?